It's Richard Askham here again. I don't normally pop up at this point in the show, but we've got a particular reason, and Timothy and I have been chatting about that particular reason for the last few minutes, to want to introduce this next segment. And it's the practical printer. It's our product review section of episode 2. Obviously, Timothy's with me over here. Hi, Timothy.
Hi, how are you, Richard?
Do you know, I'm really well, thank you. I'm sitting in a nice, cool breeze. It's about 23 degrees here in the UK. It's a lovely summer's day. What about yourself?
Sweltering, pushing 95. My air conditioning went out yesterday, felt the full brunt of it. Most shops that I visit, very hot.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's
kind of
Atlanta.
that's a whole lot. I like that. That's kind of why we thought we'd do this little piece because Timothy, as you know, for those of you that have seen episode 1, and welcome, by the way, if you're joining us on episode 2, that makes you a subscriber, and we're very glad to have you with us on Print Island. But Timothy recorded his product review this week in what can only be described as, I think, desert temperatures in a room, and we just thought we should explain to you, the viewer, why he may have looked a little bit like Meatloaf at his final gig. Timothy,
Yeah.
just tell the viewers what the hell I'm talking about.
I was thinking of Louis Armstrong. He used
Okay.
funny when he was sweat. He had the handkerchief, right? I said, well, I better grab one of those, So I grabbed a shop towel because I was profusely dripping while I did the event because it was warm, very warm. And look, I think it lends itself to the video because the printer I did in question was one that I'm very close to, and it was announced, I think, last October 31st, right around Halloween, that HP was discontinuing the 300 Latex series. Right now, the 300 Latex series was like very near and dear to my heart. Love the printer, the whole series. I like the 360, 365, the best of the bunch, of the whole series, because I think it had all the core features to it. So I went to a location that's running like 5 of them, and I just shot it exactly as it was, in their spot. And it's cool because, it gets hot in shops. And seeing a printer run in its native environment, which is often not spec, right? The engineers will say it needs to be within these temperatures and this humidity. I'm like, that doesn't happen in the real world, and not in a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's and it's going to be cold and it's going to be warm, and these things are very durable in both conditions. Well, in this one, I was hot.
Okay.
And it was so hot. In fact, my hair was sticking to my head, and I didn't realize it.
Well, when I watched the footage back when we were doing the editing for this episode, I thought we're going to have to talk about this. We can't just present you as melting on screen.
Right. I needed 2 cold German beers, actually. I only had 1.
I think that should be our new star rating. How many cold beers do we need
how
to
many
judge?
cold German beers there are?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So listen, we talked about this piece being an RIP for the HP 360. I had no idea that you were going to film it actually inside the crematorium. But I'll let you in. I'll let you introduce this piece.
Absolutely, folks. This is my fond farewell to a wonderful printer that I think made HP Latex in a certain respect, and it also certainly solidified my relationship to the product. I was its champion, its evangelist, its Latex Czar for almost a decade, and loved it, loved working for HP, loved everything about it. It was a real joy. It was a wonderful ride. And I wanted to say goodbye to an old friend and something that, made my life very pleasant. So,
well, we will say
the farewell to the HP 300 series.
We'll say a small prayer while you watch this.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. My name is Timothy Mitchell, and I am the Practical Printer. Digital printing for practical people. Not that long ago, seems like a lifetime ago, I was the Latex Czar. Yeah, I know, it's a ridiculous appellation, but I'm a ridiculous man. As the Latex Czar, I largely built my reputation, and I hope helped build HP Latex's reputation, on one particular printer that was a dynamite success for HP, and really, I still believe, put HP Latex on the map. That printer is a printer right here behind me. First of all, cheers. I had to hide it a little bit, but I do have my ice cold German beer. When you're in a production facility, especially somebody else's, you have to hide the beer. Otherwise, you send a message to the employees that they too can drink beer while they operate their presses, instruments, and calendared equipment. and especially the finishing equipment's the concern. So here's my spindle. It's almost like my microphone. I remember these spindles. I remember everything about this printer. And the reason I really want to do this is a tribute. It's an encomium. It's a farewell to an old friend. See, at the time it was announced that this printer was officially headed to the graveyard, and I stand here in a way metaphorically on top of the cemetery. I have a 360 behind me, but I'm also surrounded by 370s, which is the 360 with a bulk ink system. They're all still running. They're all still viable. And that comes as no surprise because the HP Latex 360 was a dynamite, rugged, durable, reliable, proven little printer that changed the digital printing industry forever, introduced a completely new ink technology and its mature form, and allowed people to do things with a printer that they had never done before. More than any other thing, this printer changed the way people printed. It eliminated solvent, or it certainly significantly controlled solvent's influence, and then also heralded to the arrival of UV LED. When this printer was released, there were no lower end or commercial affordable UV LED. And honestly, this printer still prints circles around some LED printers in certain applications. And the reason why? Water-based ink, outdoor durable, very scratch and scuff resistant, no particular odor, environmentally friendly and sustainable. Certainly the technology I would prefer. I'm running in closed spaces for my own health and well-being and the health and well-being of my employees. It hit all the marks, and it introduced a whole bunch of innovations from the previous gens that I think changed the way people did their printing. The first and most remarkable, HP introduced an ink technology change. Now, HP is an ink innovator. They own their own ink chemists. They own their own they own their chemists. They own their ink chemistry. They own their own ink manufacturing. They manufacture their own print heads. So one of the things about being truly vertical is you can come up with real innovation, which HP did. This particular printer was a result of that innovation. They introduced the Optimiser. The Optimiser is a solution that lays down on the media, and when the ink drops down, it fixes it and holds it in place so it doesn't bleed or coalesce. Essentially, it overcame the limitation of the 26500 and its predecessors, which was there was a heater here. The heater that I used to open up and look at, I actually branded myself at one point with that heater. Well, that heater limited the printer's effectiveness and limited its productivity. You could only go so fast because you had to evaporate. It was very good on paper, but everything else, a bit of a disappointment. And it created a level of complexity. Okay, you have two heaters and you have to figure out the right temperatures and all this stuff. People just didn't understand how it worked. When they introduced the Optimiser, it significantly accelerated the speed, the productivity went up, the ease of use went way up, and now you have a really viable technology that you can put on the market that you can show people how to use without confusing them. Having an easy to use printer for most people is a huge plus. I could train somebody to run this printer successfully in a half an hour. It's easy. And easy to use is a big benefit in a complex market with all kinds of technology. And then you have all the software and finishing and all that. Make the printer simple, make the printer easy, and people will gravitate towards it. And they did in droves. From the market share where the HP was when the 26500 came out to the 360 changed the world. When I saw it for the first time in Barcelona, I knew they had a monster success. This thing was going to be huge. I put my foot on the gas and did everything I could to promote it for nearly 10 years. So it seems fitting that I would offer a farewell to this old friend because, my, what a great product it was. Other innovations in it, which were key, software. Ever since this in particular, HP stepped up and became the king of software within this mid-range and low-end commercial market. HP doesn't have their own RIP. They are completely integrated with Onyx, Flexi, Caldera, Print Factory, you name it. The reason why is because they recognize that that's how things get done. Third-party RIP will be integrated, and they will offer this printer with different softwares depending on what you prefer to buy. Depending on the configuration, you can even have softwares, third-party, that come with it that are bundled into the price, like Flexi is with the print and cut. The printer introduced a software refinement that kind of stemmed around something HP did, which made it very easy for you to do certain things. Namely, it has a beautiful touchscreen panel, but it also has a built-in i1, and they had their own color creation software so that you can load a media like a paper, an adhesive vinyl, a banner, a canvas. It doesn't much matter. Unless it's too textured or it's a backlit, you can build your own color work for every mode yourself in about a half an hour. So this is an adhesive vinyl on here behind me. I can either do one of two things: go to the media locator, download it. They have hundreds of them on there, so that was probable. The onboard i1 would color calibrate it, i.e., it would do a linearization for you and keep the color consistent to the extent an onboard device can. If you're panel printing on this printer, I would recommend an external i1 and a little better software on the external side to maintain color consistency on panel printing. Onyx offers that, Print Factory offers that, Flexi offers that, but you're going to have to make more of an effort with panels because it's thermal print heads. And thermal print heads, super easy of use, super easy to replace, very durable, very rugged, but they will tend to drift quicker and more often. And if you have to have color and tile consistency, an external device is going to be the way to go. But I'm ahead of myself. You can do your own modes. 8 pass, 10 pass, 12 pass, all on the printer using the onboard Spectro. HP has its own software to create it, and it was pretty good. It was more than good enough. They've since refined it with the new iterations of the 700 and 800, and now I'm told the 730 and 830. But they were the first ones to really do it in a way that integrated completely with the software. And what that means is, I don't care what RIP you have. Everything is done on the printer, and then the RIP turns on, bidirectionally communicates, takes that i1, takes that ICC profile, brings it in, and now you can print with a custom ICC built right on the printer. Nobody else had that. As far as I know, nobody still has that. It's very unique because you have to develop your own color software, and HP did that. That's what set it apart. And really, their software is still like light years ahead of just about everybody else. The manners on this printer, man, it's a good dog. It's the best dog of all time. I used to call it a cactus. It just sits there. You leave it alone. You don't have to do anything. I'd be gone for weeks. This thing, I knew the minute it's been in hibernation. Who knows? It's been weeks since it's been run. I hit that come out of hibernation button. I know there's no error messages. I know there's no finicky nonsense. There's no bugs. It's a lockdown printer. That makes it rugged on build quality, easy to use, easy to load, reliable and consistent. And people just got used to that. And now it's very difficult when you're introducing other products that are buggy and flaky and unstable. Man, this thing was a buy, and it was a gem. So build quality solid, productivity when you got rid of that wait time and you don't have to gas off to laminate. It's got 3M certifications on the ink so you can run vehicle wraps, print on all kinds of material. If it's on a 3-inch core, I used to joke, you can probably run it. Man, I even ran double stretch fabric on here. Now, I had to babysit it, but I got it to work. There was all kinds of cool stuff you could run on this printer, and there were all sorts of easy ways to make little modifications to the take-up unit and everything, and that's why I made like 100 and some videos, because this printer would do it. You just sometimes had to figure out how. It was super easy to operate. The software was totally dialed in, great manners. And at the time, service was still, a lot of companies did their own service. You had dealers who were servicing dealers. Bell and Howell and all that was really nowhere in sight yet. And HP was servicing, or the dealers were servicing. But honestly, these printers needed very, very little attention. It was almost the perfect HP printer for the perfect time with a perfect ink set, and all of the right technology came together. The only step back a little bit was that it didn't print paper as well as the previous iterations. And there was a reason for that. Namely, when you're printing paper and you're putting all this ink down in a water delivery vehicle, that water sits on the paper. It hits this first heater, which is also your secondary and finishing curing heater, and it would buckle. That buckling would travel back in the print path, and you would have a little scrape from the heads because the paper is now not flat. Other than that, everything on this printer went off with clockwork. I mean, even the fabrics that I printed, if it had a little salvage edge or a little rough, it would just kind of clean the nozzles, right? It would just keep right on chugging along. So easy to use, great manners, reliable, durable. And once you kind of got the feel of everything, man, this printer was hard to give up. And that's why they're running everywhere still. And that's why a lot of people would rather have two. By the way, the difference between the 365 and the 360 was just the number 5. It was the decal on there. If you were current on your firmware, there wasn't much difference. If you had two 365s, you can make a case that that was a better arrangement than having an 800 because, or even at the time, the 570, because you're getting 150 square feet an hour, 120 square feet an hour, great quality, and now you have redundancy. Ink's easy to use, print heads easy to replace. Great printer, guys. I wanted to be there when you announced that you were retiring it so that I could offer my official tribute. I couldn't. I had some conflicts of interest, but now that I can. Phenomenal printer. If you can pick one up used in a good price, I would do it. HP made their name. HP Latex really got born here as something that people became truly familiar with. And I'm super incredibly proud to have been associated with it and to have been the goofy Latex Czar for almost 10 years because I believed in the product. I still do. I would still have one, and you should too. Great product, HP. I salute all the engineering team in Barcelona. You made a phenomenal thing. You made a thing people wanted, and you made a thing that people were proud to own.